All right, down to the final four. A Papa John's pizza costs $12 for each pizza. Write an equation in the form y equals kx and identify what x, k, and y represent in words in the equation. Well, let's first identify k. K is going to be the cost of the pizza, or the cost of each pizza, and really that each is our key word there, because each tells us there's going to be a rate of change or a constant, and k is always our constant. So k equals 12, and in words that would be our constant or rate of change. Our equation for the line would be y equals 12x. X representing the pizza. So if I had one pizza, it would be 1 times 12 is $12. If I had two pizzas, it would be 2 times 12 is $24, and thus forth. So X represents the quantity of pizzas, K represents the cost of each pizza, and Y represents the total, which is dependent or directly varies, remember direct variation, based on the quantity of X. So now let's continue. It says if I buy 8 pizzas, how much would they cost if you add a 15% tip to the cost of the pizza? Well, first I need to know what the cost of 8 pizzas is. So I would multiply 8 in my times 12. 8 times 12 is $96. Now that I know that I paid $96 for pizza, I want to add a 15% tip. So I want to know what is 15% of 96. Now we cross multiply. 96 times 15, 1,440 equals 100x. Divide both sides by 100 and determine that x equals $14.40. Well, naturally, I'm not paying $14.40 for the pizzas and the tip. Rather, this dollar amount represents just the tip. So in order for me to know the total cost of the pizza and the tip, I need to add the $14.40 to the cost of the pizza. 96.00 plus 14.40. So my total cost would be $110.40. Number 38. Complete the following table for y equals 1/2 x. All we're doing with this equation is plugging each of these x values in for x. So 0 would go in for x, and we would have 0 times 1/2. That's still going to equal 0. 1 times 1/2, well, that's going to equal 1/2. 2 times 1/2, that would equal 1. 3 times 1/2 would equal 3/2. 4 times 1/2 would equal 2. And remember, we discussed in class, it's going to be far easier to graph whole numbers. So that set of data, that set of data, and that set of data are going to be my easiest 3 to graph. So I'm going to put 0, 0 on the graph. I'm going to graph an x of 2, a y of 1, an x of 4, a y of 2, and so if we look at my x of 1, recognize that we would go up a y of 1/2. If we looked at the x of 3, I would go up 1 1/2. So all of these other points are still on that line on this graph. They're just not the easy ones for us to graph on a coordinate plane. Whole numbers are easy because they come at each of these intersections. So now I can answer the questions below the graph. Is this an example of direct variation? Remember, we need to ask ourselves the two questions. Is this a straight line? Yes, it's relatively straight. I realize my handwriting is a little bit wiggly. And second question, does it go through the origin? Yes, it does go through the point 0, 0. We knew that from our table. So, yes, it is. Why or why not? It is because it forms a straight line. And it goes through the origin. Meets both of my criteria for direct variation being proportional. Problem number 39. Calculate the simple interest if you invest $2,640 at 3% for 5 years. And remember, interest is equal to PRT. Principal times rate times time. Our principal that we're given is $2,640. So 2,640 times 3% is our rate. Remember, our rate needs to be in form of a decimal. So I need to take 3% and move my decimal back 2 places. And I would get 0.03. So times 0.03. And then times again my time of 5 years. So 2640 times 0.03 times 5. We would determine that my interest is equal to $396. Now, when you're taking a test, you need to be careful to make sure you read the instructions in the question. This question is only asking for the simple interest. So that's my solution. Had the question asked, what is my new available balance after 5 years, then I would have needed to take the $396 and add it to the $2,640. But this question did not ask that. Question number 40. If the scale factor of a model car is 1 inch to 48 inches. So that was our ratio that was given. 1 inch is equivalent to, or 1 inch is in ratio to 48 inches. So we know we're going to have a second ratio. And we are given 2 inches long. How long would it really be? So we're looking for the x. We cross multiply. 1 times x is x. 2 times 48 is 96. There's nothing to divide on both sides because we already multiplied the x times 1. So our x equals 98 inches long for the real car. Hopefully you enjoyed working on your study guide. Real quickly before I close, remember that there are a couple of equations or formulas that you need to have memorized. One was that simple interest, which we just dealt with, I equals PRT. Another was the equation of a line, problem 37, y equals kx. Y equals kx, very important for this test. And then the third was the constant of proportionality, k equals y over x. Those are the three that are really going to drive a lot of the problems for this particular test. Hopefully you feel more prepared after completing this study guide.